Okay, so you know you want to move to the Seattle metropolitan area, but you're not exactly 100% sure where you're going to move. Chances are, if you've done any kind of research, after about 5 minutes, you've realized, holy shit, Seattle is an expensive part of the world to live in. And it's true, but don't worry, we got you covered. Today, we're going to be discussing the top 7 most affordable suburbs in the Seattle metropolitan area that you'd actually want to live in. We're going to go through these 7 suburbs. I'm going to give you a little bit of information on each one and see if it's the right fit for you. So if you want to learn more about those 7 suburbs, we're getting after it right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Welcome back if you've been here before. My name is David Sappenfield, local realtor and relocation specialist. And you know, if you're interested in learning everything that you can about what it's like to live, work, eat, play here in Seattle and the surrounding suburbs, make sure you subscribe down below. Tap that bell for notifications so you can be the first to learn about the current market here in Seattle. You know, the team and I, we get calls, texts, and emails almost every day from people just like you looking for help to make their move here to Seattle, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving next week or next year, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We're happy to help you make that smooth move to Seattle. Okay, we've got a great one for you today, and we're jumping into it right now. So just to lay the groundwork for you, I used a couple key pieces of criteria when filtering out these affordable cities and which ones are going to be the best for my recommendation in terms of affordability and just places that you'd actually want to live and call home. And the first metric that we looked at was proximity to downtown Seattle, okay? How close is this suburb to downtown Seattle? You know, we could have gone out 50, 60 miles and looked at these suburbs out in the boonies, but you know, I wanted to keep it close. I wanted to keep it commutable to downtown Seattle. So we only looked at suburbs within a 30-mile radius of downtown Seattle. And the second thing that we wanted to keep in mind and factor into this was affordability versus Seattle. So we only took a look at suburbs, cities that were at least 15% cheaper in terms of cost of living compared to Seattle. So within 30 miles and at least 15% or more in terms of affordability to Seattle. So that's how we came up with the list, and let's get started on it. Okay, so the suburbs we're going to be covering today are all going to fall either south of Seattle or north of Seattle. There aren't a lot of suburbs east of Seattle that are going to fall into that affordability range. So we're going to focus on the south, we're going to focus on the north, and starting in the south, the first suburb that I want to tell you about is Burien. Now, Burien is located 10 miles south of downtown Seattle. It's about a 15 to 20 minute drive to get into downtown Seattle. The nice thing about Burien is you do have several different options and routes to get into Seattle. You can either take I-5 or you can take 509, which is another highway that runs north and south that kind of gets you in a little sneaky back way into downtown Seattle. So lots of different options of getting into downtown. The other thing that's really nice about Burien is you're really close to SeaTac Airport. So if you're doing a lot of traveling, you're right there. So just the proximity to everything is probably what I love most about Burien. Believe it or not, I actually grew up in Burien. I lived there until about 7th grade, so I am very familiar with this little suburb. And you know, it's so close to downtown Seattle, but you know, you're also close to the airport as well, which is great. Tons of great restaurants. Schools are pretty good. And just definitely something that you should probably take into consideration when thinking about more affordable suburbs. Now, the median price for a single family home in Burien is right around $650,000. And if you're looking at condos, the median price for a condo is going to be right around $385,000. And you know, when comparing affordability to Seattle, Burien is actually 27% less in cost of living for housing compared to Seattle. So you're going to be saving 27% by just going a little bit further south, right downtown Seattle. You know, like I said, 10 miles, you know, you're right there. So really a lot more affordable. And you know, as far as schools go, Burien falls within the Highline School District. So yeah, just definitely a suburb that I would keep in mind, keep that open as an option, especially if you're looking for something with a convenience factor from a commuting standpoint. Okay, the second suburb that I want to talk to you about is Renton. Okay, Renton is about 11 miles southeast of downtown Seattle. For commute times, you know, depending on traffic, you're going to be looking around 20 to 30 minutes to get into downtown Seattle. And from Renton, you have a couple different route options that you could take, okay? So you could either go around the south end of 405 to where that meets up with I-5 and get into Seattle from that route. Or if you want, you can go north up 405 from Renton, head across the I-90 bridge, and that will take you right into downtown Seattle as well. So you have a couple different options from Renton commuting into downtown Seattle. Now, the median home price for Renton is a little bit higher than Burien. So for a single family home in Renton, you're going to be looking right around $750,000. If you're looking at condos, you're probably looking around $335,000 for the median condo value in Renton. And you know, as far as comparing the cost of living for housing to Seattle, Renton is about 18% less for cost of living compared to Seattle. So much cheaper. Actually, Renton is another city that I've lived in. I lived in Renton for 14 years. When I bought my first house, it was actually in Renton, up in the Highlands, the Kennydale neighborhood up there. So really a great suburb, definitely more affordable. They're in the Renton School District, which, you know, has some really good schools in there as well. And yeah, Renton has a ton of great parks. They have Jean Coulon Beach Park. If you've seen any of my other videos on the channel, I actually have several that cover Renton, so you can find more on there as well. Just go to the channel homepage, you should be able to look those up. But Renton is awesome. I think you're gonna definitely want to consider Renton if you're looking for a more affordable suburb. Okay, we're gonna move just a little bit further south, and for our third suburb that we want to consider and take a look at, it's Kent, Washington. Okay, so Kent, that's 19 miles directly south from downtown Seattle. Just down Interstate 5, you head down south 19 miles, boom, you got Kent right there. So to get into Kent or into Seattle, you're probably looking 25 to 35 minutes as far as commute time. So still very commuter friendly to Seattle and the surrounding areas. So we're still definitely within that reasonable range of commuting on a daily basis. If we're talking about the median home price for a single family home in Kent, you're looking around $700,000 for the median single family residence in Kent. If you're considering condos, you're probably going to be right around $370,000, somewhere in that range for condos in Kent. And you know, if we're talking about comparing Kent to Seattle as far as the cost of housing is concerned, Kent is 28% cheaper than living in Seattle. So more affordable by far. You Yes, you have to drive a little bit further to get into Seattle, but you know, the affordability you cannot deny. So love that. Super conveniently located. Kent actually falls within the Kent School District. If you're looking for more information on schools, it's going to be the Kent School District for that city. So another great option, definitely one that you should consider. Okay, for our next suburb, we are going to go just a little bit south, and our fourth affordable suburb we definitely want to consider is going to be Auburn, okay? Auburn is about 25 miles south of downtown Seattle. So directly south, you head down Interstate 5 and it's gonna be there 25 miles away. As far as commute times go, you're gonna be looking anywhere from like 35 to 55 minutes, depending on traffic, of getting into downtown Seattle. So definitely on the fringe of whether or not you would want to do that commute on a daily basis, but not too bad. Okay, you're probably going to be less than an hour on most days. So, but we're still within that 30-mile radius of downtown Seattle. So we're meeting that parameter right there. So as far as median home values go for homes in Auburn, your typical single-family home is going to be around $608,000. If you're considering condos, you're looking around $270,000 for condos. And when we're talking about like comparison of cost of housing versus Seattle, Auburn cost of housing is about 31% less than what you're going to pay in Seattle. So most affordable, but furthest away. So you got to kind of take the good with the bad. The commute times are going to be a little bit longer, but your dollar is going to go a lot further in Auburn. So great one to consider. If you're interested in schools in Auburn, they are served by the Auburn School District. So you can head to the Auburn School District website, get a ton of information on schools there. But all in all, Auburn, fantastic. You get a lot of house for your money, and definitely something you should consider. Okay, for our fifth suburb, we are going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to head up north, and we are going to Mountlake Terrace. And Mountlake Terrace is just about 14 miles north of downtown Seattle. Commuter friendly, very, very commuter friendly. You know, you're looking around 20 minutes, 30 minutes to get into downtown, you know, depending on traffic. So super convenient from that standpoint. As far as like the cost of housing in Mountlake Terrace, the median home price for a single family residence is right around $675,000. If you're looking at condos, those are a little bit higher than the other condos that we've seen. We've got some newer condos in the Mountlake Terrace area, but we're looking around $497 for the median price of a condo in Mountlake Terrace. And you know, if we're talking about housing costs compared to Seattle, we're looking around 24% less in Mountlake Terrace than you will find in Seattle. And of course, schools, you know, if you're interested in schools, Mountlake Terrace falls within the Edmond School District, so head over to the Edmond School District website to get more information on that. But if you're looking for something on the north end of Seattle, Mountlake Terrace is about where you want to take a look at for affordable homes and really, really convenient commute times. Okay, heading a little bit further north from Mountlake Terrace, we run into our sixth suburb that we want to consider, and this is one of my favorites, and it's Lynnwood, Washington. So Lynnwood is right around 16 miles north of downtown Seattle, so super close. As far as commuting goes, it would probably take you anywhere from like 20 to 30 minutes to get into downtown Seattle, maybe a touch longer if you're in heavy traffic, but still very commutable, something you could do on a daily basis without too much, you know, stress from traffic. Median home values for a single family residence in Lynnwood is going to be right around $760,000. If you're interested in condos, you're probably going to be looking right around $295,000 for a condo. So more affordable than Seattle, most definitely. If we're talking about the housing costs compared to Seattle, Lynnwood is going to be around 16% less than what you're going to pay in Seattle. So not quite as big of a gap as the other cities that we've covered so far, but Lynnwood is a super awesome place to live. It's has a ton of great restaurants. There's Alderwood Mall in Lynnwood. They're actually finishing out probably in 2025 the light rail system that is a pretty extensive light rail system through the Puget Sound, metro area, Seattle metro area, and Lynnwood is going to be its like northernmost stop for the next few years. But that should open in 2025, which will make commuting into the city and around the whole Puget Sound region a lot more friendly and less stressful. So that will be awesome. But like I said, Lynnwood, definitely one of my favorite suburbs on this list. You can find great homes. If you're interested in schools in the Lynnwood area, Lynnwood is served by the Edmonds School District. So head over to the Edmonds School District website. You can get a ton more information on Lynnwood schools from that website there. But Lynnwood, probably on this whole list, one of my favorites, probably my favorite out of the 7, if I'm being honest. But yeah, consider Lynnwood. It's awesome. And yeah, let's move on to the next one. Okay, our next suburb on the list for today is just a little bit further north from Lynnwood, and that is Everett. Okay, Everett is 28 miles north of downtown Seattle, so this is actually our furthest suburb from downtown Seattle that we've covered today. But commute times to get into Seattle, you're looking anywhere from like 35 to 45, 50 minutes to get into downtown Seattle. So not too bad, but lots of employment opportunities in Everett as well. They have the Boeing plant there, so maybe you work for Boeing or one of the aerospace companies in the Everett area. This will be a great fit for you because your dollar's going to go further in Everett and your commute's going to be awesome, especially if you are working in Everett. As far as like home values go, the median price for a single family home in Everett, Washington is going to be right around $625,000. If you're open to condo living, you're probably going to be looking around $355,000 for a condo. And the biggest comparison, which makes Everett a cut above the rest probably, is the cost of housing comparison to Seattle. And Everett is just about 31% cheaper than living in Seattle. So your dollar stretches way further, and if you work up in Everett or somewhere up north, your commute is not going to be bad at all. And there's just a ton of cool neighborhoods, a lot of old historic homes with views of the Puget Sound. There's just a ton of great neighborhoods in Everett that you would definitely want to consider. As far as schools go in Everett, public schools, it's served by the Everett School District. So go check out their website for more information on the Everett School District. But Everett's fantastic. Another one of those cities, we have lots of content on the channel for Everett. So if you want to take a deeper dive, make sure you go to our channel homepage, check out the other cities that we have in there, and you can get more in-depth information on those. Okay, several good options of suburbs that you should be considering if you're looking for something that is affordable and commutable, yet within that Seattle metropolitan area. Now, I will say this list was in no particular order. I did not rank them by affordability or distance, just 7 random cities that I personally think are probably the top ones to consider when looking for affordableness, okay? Check these ones out for sure. And hey, if you're thinking about making a move, whether it's next week or next year, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We're happy to help you make that smooth move to Seattle. And if you've watched this long, more than likely you want to learn as much as you can about living in Seattle and the surrounding areas. Make sure you watch this video that's popping up right here to learn a ton more information. And until next time, we'll see you around town. Take care.